Good morning. Today being the fourth session, we are studying about performance review and counseling. This is the fourth unit. Fourth unit relates about how the performance counsel, how performance monitored, and what was the review taken place, and what are the tools they have used for the process of performance. Now, this performance review and counseling is divided into 4 units. These 4 units will develop skills to carry out into a performer counselor rather than simplifying being a superior manager. It explains psychoanalytic therapies. For example, it is a ladder. It is a ladder for a performer how to deal with the poor and low level performance to improve, to develop skills into higher productivity. So there are several tools are explained to bring up effectiveness in performance. These are studied under performance monitoring, performance counseling, performance review, and what are the tools are used by the manager. Now we come to first point, performance monitoring. What is this performance monitoring? Monitoring is simply, it is a process by which employees work. His performance is measured with an objective of suggesting improvements in future. Because organizations are facing challenges with higher performance, both organization and employees should perform excellent with managerial performance and bring out performance into excellence performance. Thus, performance monitoring requires organization to develop entirely a new approach, new scenario to take up challenges with new approach, that is mentoring. In olden days, we have so many with organization to exercise our corrective actions by the management control. But today, employees are treated as human assets. Instead of correcting with the different mindsets of job, and here in this present scenario, the performance monitoring is measured with quantitative methods. What are these measurements? How they are well documented? They are well documented with the participative discussions of employees. This unit helps the manager to understand the implementation of performance monitoring in organization. In short, if you know in other simple words, this unit helps the manager to understand the implementation of performance monitoring in organization. And what are the main characteristics? The main characteristics of monitoring is undertaken after the appraisal. That means after the performance appraisal. It helps to focus on employees' objectives and goals of the organization, and it explores T&D. That means training and development opportunities, as well with the development of their career planning. And it also helps to strengthen the relationship between the management and employees. There are objectives of this performance monitoring. Say, for example, take performance, job performance. What do you mean by job performance? And what do you mean by effectiveness? And what do you mean by progress? So these are the main objectives are studied under the job performance, effectiveness, progress, and what are the methods and procedures followed in thinking radically, because leaving all the old methods and old results, only focusing on the process and procedures present modern days to evaluate their performance, to improve their areas. And what are the work habits? Next one is, another objective is work habits. This performance monitoring should help the organization to cultivate and give a clear atmosphere to work appropriately with the new habits to sustain for a long period of time becomes an attitude of an employee. So this enables the development of sound atmosphere to develop in the future course of action. Now, another point we discussed in short, what do you mean by performance grid? Performance grid is an analysis of performance in regard to the organization. It reveals three categories of performance. That means average, excellent, and marginal performer. According to this ratio, we can, according to the percentage wise, if you divide these three among, what are the three categories of performer? 90% employees are average performer, 5% will fall in excellent, and remaining will fall under the marginal. So here, we abbreviate this DSMC, a model of creating performance improvement project in organization. So we have several steps in this model. First one is transformation improvement process, management and cultural environment. With each and every component of organization environment, we can set up some opportunities, goals, and what are the priorities to establish, what are the action plans, how to implement the projects with taking necessary and following tools and methods, what are the methodologies to evaluate the cycle time to time, and what are the innovations. So these are the series of steps are included in this model. What is that model called? DSMC. ATI. ATI. So here it projects all the steps, how to follow up excellent performance in the organization. Now, coming to the next point, in short, what is the importance of performance monitoring? The importance of performance monitoring, it helps in many ways for the employees to derive a direct benefit of knowing themselves in form of any pitfalls in the employee performance, how to enhance the employee's performance, and also it is essentially, it is an ongoing process. It identifies various areas of competencies. Thirdly, if you think, it also helps in the review of current performance and identifies the actions to be taken in a corrective form. It enables the link between the individual objective as well with the organizational objectives. Lastly, it brings changes in performance management system where you can improve system or you can merge the system into an excellence process. And there are certain areas for performance monitoring. That means it has got some method to examine various activities in the system through 5 areas. So these 5 areas are covered how to monitor. First one is results. Results are the index of successful achievement of the job. It is very, very important area. Here it required end results. Every piece of job is required end results. Therefore, these results clearly mentioned in the organization throughout the process of an employee. And next, review and cycle. This review and recycle, it is also a continuous review of progress of an employee with the significant functions and process of lifestyle rather than a program, one program. This makes changes organization to fall with n number of changes and identify the remedies are suggested. At the same time, you can evaluate with the quantitative and meaningful to the employees. So these are the essential conditions for effective performance grid through what are the gaps is in plant and what was the actual performance to develop improvement plans for the average performer and what you are going to create positive culture, how to clarify the purpose, how to work at, and what are the modifications you are reinforcing, how you are reducing the leniency error, because leniency error is casual attitude of any employee with their own performance. In order to make this performance grid effective, the discrepancy between self-assessment and other assessment must be reduced. So therefore, the manager's training and development is required for implementing performance grid. Manager needs skills to do the object assessment of employees. They must understand the average performance should be counseled for improving the results with the help of the performance grid. Grid relates all the important basic elements of an employee for the effective performance. Next one, what do you mean by mentoring? Mentoring is a fundamental form of human development. When one person invests time, energy, and personal know-how assisting the growth and ability of another person. This definition was given by Gordon in 2001. Gordon mentoring is a fundamental form of human development where one person invests time, energy, and personal know-how assisting the growth and ability of another person. This mentoring, in other words, is a mutual relationship between two people sharing relevant experiences. It helps to develop various alternative solutions to solve the problems. It is modeling behavior. So these are the main characteristics of mentoring. So this mentoring is very, very challenging in HRM. That means human resources management is acquiring and retaining the talent. Organizations have found that the mentoring is a viable solution for making end generation employees to commit the organization goals. Otherwise, even small become very helpless. So ongoing mentors aims at developing appropriate trust between the manager as a mentor and more subordinate as the protege. So mentoring, therefore, mentoring is ongoing because mentor has to make continuous effort to realize the full potential in the protege, that means employees. It not only contributes towards development, it also reduces psychological distress. It is a powerful instrument to develop in the subordinate. Today, all the professional leaders in the organization are developing themselves as a mentor and simplify being a leader or a dictator or a coach. Hence, in ongoing mentoring, mentor assumes multiple roles where he guides, where he become a friend, where he become a counselor, where he become a facilitator, having a positive, is a well-wisher, is a motivator, overall personal professional developer. So this ongoing mentor secures a number of benefits to the mentor and protege and organization. So this ongoing mentor provides an opportunity to share his experience and ideas, learnings with a humble goal of personal and organizational development. Now, coming to the next point, What do you mean by performance documentation? Performance documentation is a systematic process which records agreed performance goals, resources, needed tools are required for measuring actual performance, comparison of performance, and providing to future. It is recording various performance management activities in a systematic manner. It, it is a very crucial process because it because performance measurement is a human activity. This document, performance document, provides evidence against these differences. It minimizes the friction between superior and subordinate in process of performance monitoring and management. So this document covers all the 4 areas called performance planning, performance managing, performance appraisal, and performance monitoring. This performance documentation has 4 areas: planning, managing, appraisal, and monitoring. It is a key indicator for individuals and teams. So there are various instruments to be used. Now, coming to the first one, what is the planning stage? That means, what is this area covers under planning stage, performance planning stage? It has got a list of key performance indicators for individuals as well teams. It has list of mutually agreed key areas, key result areas, and also has got list of resources to execute agreed performance goals, and also got lastly, what are the various appraisal instruments to be used, and what are the content is related with the performance managing state. It is a recording of actual performance of individual. This document, preparing document of deviation from the plans and various possible reasons, how are alternative corrections are to listed, how you are segregating and identifying controllable and uncontrollable, and we are preparing list of areas of accountability in managing state. Where in performance appraisal stage, you are filling only appraisal instruments, assign scores, separating excellent performer, marginal performer, and poor performer in 3 based on the scores assigned. And we are communicating to a suitable format employee to reach the higher level for understanding how you are recording recommendation for rewards and the punishments accordingly. Now coming to the how you are going to monitoring state. This monitoring is done through the help of feedback, with the help of a written performance documents and various discussions, so on. So you are taking a disciplinary action based on the monitoring performance. So ending up with this, monitoring performance with a short, what do you mean by last point? What do you mean by on annual stock taking? It is the accepted, widely used approach to performance management documentation. It is prepared periodically and recorded the performance. Annual stock is taking into account for measuring in physical terms. It is a physical verification of statuses and conditions of items held in short, annual stock taking of human performance is a performance audit function. This audit assess during the period of performance. So particular period of performance, how you are evaluated under the performance. In other words, it is a performance audit function. It takes the employees' evaluations and measures the results with organizational and employees' growth. Is it clear? Now, coming to the next point, next bit is performance counseling. What do you mean by counseling? Counseling is described with many statements. Can be studied under psychological, psychotherapy, through feedback, etc. So performance counseling is sometimes misunderstood quite often. It is also misrepresented by the boss in an assertive manner of correcting employee behavior by giving negative feedback. So sometimes employees need advice or counseling when they make mistakes, unmanageable, and also they behave in an uncooperative manner. Sometimes executives also escape from the responsibility. They think that they have organized counseling to subordinate and give some advice. And they also feel employees become adamant to actions and irritating. So therefore, bad rating on the other hand may be a proof to failure to meet the agreed expectations. So now how this performance counseling or performance management. So employee counseling is a procedure, is undertaken by a responsible manager or a counselor to assist the worker at the time of difficulties. It is carried out to listen and consider the challenges in order to solve the solutions. What is the main primary purpose? Is to offer job-related, medical, some assistance to those who are experiencing. So, in the management, the counseling is for optimizing performance. Therefore, performance counseling is a technique for assisting a person in analyzing his job-related achievements in a given period of time. And he has to decide to what extent he can influence and what are his responsible for the outcomes, in designing his action through his strategies to maximize his own effectiveness for his employee productivity He should, he should understand about his performance relatively with other teams who plays a similar role, and he should identify the problems where he performed to the higher level by discussing the different elements, for identifying the methods, how to improve, and suggesting for the best approach for improving performance. So this performance counseling is also help employees to appreciate his purposes, values, address individual talks. Therefore, the entire aim is to help the employer as well the employee by taking an active problem-solving attitude in order to address the problems. And what are the main objectives of performance counseling? It provides an environment for the staff to share and discuss with their superiors in order to cut short their tensions, to reduce, to minimize their tensions, disputes, issues which are arise, and also help the employees to know their strengths and weaknesses, to realize their potentialities, and also see into the insights of behavior of the employees, to face their issues with the confidential levels also increase. It enables the employee to set mutually understanding between both superior and the subordinate, and also helps an employee to concern with the objectives, and also it develops various plans to require to improve the performance. Hence, the management decides on the needs of training and growth program to improve the abilities of the staff or the employee at the workplace. So there are the certain objectives how to create a climate and healthy atmosphere to help the employee to win the confidential levels, which have full faith for strengthening their behavior, and also prepare plans to improve their efficiency, etc. So these are the main objectives of the performance counseling. Now, what are the components? Components are attracted of performance counseling. Here, the performance counseling has components. Means we have many components. We discuss main components or activities are involved with a different area. First one is, what is the problem identification? First, you identify the problem. If you identify the problem, that means his behavior for a certain period of time to the performance assignment, when assignment is given to an employee, if he is not done effectively, you should identify first his problem. Then you can communicate. As a result, if you correspondent, he fully understand by your communication and what are the essential part to be improved. After communicating, you can educate employee. Educating employees is the third component. By educating, that means your interaction between the superior and the subordinate gives certain ideas for setting the departmental and targets, which also involves a conversation during the performance assessment and on the evaluation, so that you can teach and inspire them to take prevention measures in future course of action. Third one, after educating the employee, coming to the next point, counseling of employee. After hearing and listening of the two different types of communication, we vary a attentiveness. Similarly, it guides how to determine and how to understand effective therapy. So counseling of employees also results in effective therapy for improving his degrees of effectiveness. And next, coming to the direction for assistance. In order to help or support a person who should know individual need, a boss concerned for employee to gain their support, counseling, the routine. In his absence also, he will do sincerely his action. Last one is execution of technique. It includes encouraging and promoting progress so that individual can take action and play with new ideas. Here the manager gets involved for the implementation of tech so that the problem can be solved, prevented in the future, how to reduce, how to minimize. So this is about the performance counseling. We have a process also. How this process of performance counseling. There is a clear description is given in your material. So we have a planned, well-developed plan for the training and how the process of is dive into for the future performance and what are the reasonable actions to be ensured that individual achieves the desired results with the personnel counseling, mentoring, training, and growth plans. So here the process of counseling, we can prepare by rapport building with the information, review, information gathering through the objectives and how you are going to conduct with the listening and 5 minutes. For understanding how to judge here, more 5 minutes now. Yeah. So you have to prepare, conduct, and review. So we'll close this counseling. Now, next part, how the review is going to. What do you mean by review? What do you mean by review? Review and last point discussing about the review and how are the management tools are employed. Performance management is a method of improving the performance of people and teams working with an organization to manage the organizational strategies. This is how they plan and transform into required results. Here, the employees need guidelines and healthy atmosphere so that they are encouraged for the growth and technically know what to do and know how their contribution is related to the organizational priorities and what is expected and how they are measured. So these all important areas are studied under the performance management. Now, what do you mean by review meeting? Review meeting the performance review meeting is the strongest instrument at the disposal of manager. Both boss and employee mutually show full attention to the other party in the session. So this performance review meeting is an opportunity for both to understand past and future. Like they are genuinely cooperative, both in advance throughout the year with the several other performance. So here, the performance appraisal is an opportunity to help concentrate on the other critical facets for the success. Now, there is a procedure in following performance review meeting. The employee experienced during the professionally relationship with an employer and the employee, how they are shared with the organization. They consist a series of steps. Conducting performance review meeting, they first prepare for the discussion. After the discussion, they set up expectation, what they are expecting. They are scheduled to a convenient time, a place. Is it for enough time, let's say for an hour? How to start the conference, how the manager should clarify. So there are some expectations are set in the discussion. They are framed. They have structured for assisting the review meeting. Invite the staff to share self-assessment. Five percent on the class is the thank you. Either third phone. Thank you. They invite the staff to share and they give perspective That means managers should add views about the performance of employee for the discussion, move forward, and how the people are driven by the need for recognition, for accomplishment. So this is applicable in situation where an employee were fulfilled or exceeded. It is necessary to consider the where an individual failed to meet a goal. So it gives a full perspective of an employee must work hard, must contribute more and more efficiency towards his work achievement in the organization. Now coming to the last one, jointly determine next course of action. It encourages the staff to discuss their abilities and their shortcomings. If an employee thinks that is blamed or punished by admitting a weak point, he will make a open to share. So employees are encouraged to transform them. What is the root cause actually? The employee was experienced with the problem. So these are all determined in this last point. Then the manager may also take necessary assistance to improve his solution to choose the best approach. So this is about review, how he is evaluated under this process. By conducting development interview, by preparing a developmental review is preparing for, has got a process. That means that process is the performance evaluation of the employee. The manager will be saying timely and what are the challenges has to be made and how to overcome, what are his outcomes are yielded. So these are all studied under the goals. That means to follow up on the feedback on the progress made to the behavior with the positive encouragement of his goals. Now, coming to the how many types of performers there? Here, when you discuss in detail, how many types of performers are there means not everyone is a performer or a non-performer. Each and everyone has some level of performance. Everybody are not 100% performance. So some abilities and motivations are influenced. The capacity in knowledge and experience, willingness and curiosity that motivates people. So these are all performing on the job. So it deals with some types of employees at work are studied in your course of work. Now coming to the last point, what are the management tools? What are the tools used in the performance management? We all know it is performance management is a continuous process. where you are evaluated, compared goals and targets on the regular basis. And there are many ways to control, assess, track organizational performance over the period. So the most common objective of the performance management is key result areas. That means KRA. As well, objectives and key results, OKR. And key performance, KPI, key performance indicator. So under the umbrella of performance management, not only the goals and objectives, these are the tools. Key result areas, key performance indicators have come together for the use by the management as a very, very important management tools. So what are the management tools? KRA, OKR, and KPI. Key result areas, objectives and key results, and key performance indicators. Under this umbrella of management, we have management tools. Now, in short, if you discuss, what do you mean by key result areas? Key result areas are an expected outcomes. That means end results. They are very general, has set a particular position which describe the job profile, job responsibility, objectives and goals, and how employee understood with the good note of key result areas, and how the employees plan and deliver their target. So these are the characteristics are involved in. It establishes what a role is supposed to be performed and describe the employees track and how an employee can have a complete influence. These are the main characteristics. So the duties are very clear, their profile were very clear, their behavior, goals and targets, and what is the relationship between the manager and the subordinate, improve time to time, and make the choices. So these are the key result areas, that means management tools used in the performance management. And what are the KPI? KPI is a key performer indicators. So these are intended to monitor performance. They are linked to achievement of department targets and organizational goals. They can be general indicator or a specific indicator. They provide evaluated and report to the executive team with indicators. That means moving towards the specific objectives. So here the manager should pay attention to each and every element of strategic planning given by the management? How are these key performance indicators are measurable in value, show that the company can work effectively by paying more and more attention towards the existing process, by taking the necessary measures irrespective of any department, and total satisfaction to the total revenue. Here, the most of the company use KPI as a benchmark. Benchmarks are nothing but best practice. What do you mean by benchmark? They are the best practice. How to improve, how to identify, how to encompass us with the key roles. So it is deals with the exceed the organizational goals with employee efficiency. Now, lastly, we'll discuss one small point. What do you mean by balance scorecard? This is very, very important component, concept used in the management. The concept of balance scorecard has evolved over a period of time. It includes all the important tools, like more than a tool, it has a management mechanism. According to this, it is a very important move on financial indicators as they report on the department. So finally, in short, if you think balance scorecard is one of the most important business idea. Balance scorecard has 4 boxes. It contains 4 areas. That means financial perspective. If you closely examine this, it is that describes about the financial resource allocation, sales, tax, costs, and ratios, budget, other financial metrics included in the financial perspective. And coming to the next, customer perspective, it is all about the customer feel, view, and what was the customer satisfaction, what is the price of a product, and what are the services given, and what are the feedbacks given by the customers. So these are all views given by according to the perspective of customer. Because nowadays the customer is a king in the market. It is a customer oriented in the market. So consumer satisfaction plays an important role in the present scenario. So always the organization is a very important role from customer perspective. Next one is process perspective. Process perspective is to employ to meet needs of customers and shareholders. What are the gaps, deviation, what are the shortages and wastages about the product, about the services, about the main business processes. How to evaluate by examining the quality of the products made, and how are the costs reflected, and how are the efficiency was examined. So these are all These are all included in the process perspective. Now coming to the last one in the balance scorecard, main area is organizational capacity. It's all about how the employees are encouraged toward the continuous change and growth, and the measure of employee satisfaction, their retention, keeping them for a long period of time, not for every 3 years or 4 years, and, and information regarding about the management are included. So this concerns how the well intelligence is gathered, how easily the employees can to achieve strategic advantage, and how are the human resources are considered through infrastructure, technology, culture, capabilities, etc., etc. So these are the 4 perspectives are required for integration to other objectives, to evaluate their budgetary, to improve learning and development, for identifying and evaluating the organizational goals, targets, their measures, and initiatives. Thank you all. And now I conclude with a small point. What do you mean by benchmark? Benchmarking is the process of comparing a company's outcome to those of other comparable companies in order to determine whether there is a success difference. That means you are examining the activities of other companies, shows that it takes to increase a company's competitiveness. Here, In short, benchmarking is the method of matching finished products, services, features to those of another company that is thought to be the best in the market. That means in simple, best practices or best in the class. Every organization aims for the best among the competitors. So benchmarking always aims to recognize internal areas where the employees can develop through their opportunities from the gradual development with the continuous process. They improve and yield significant results. So benchmarking is based on the fundamental principle, not only the re-engineering the entire internal product, but also it intends to change many significant results are to be introduced in the organization, the superior performance by comparing with the other companies. There are certain examples for the benchmarking are, first one you say call centers, technology, health, hospitality. Call center, a customer service engineering from a Samsung, a television manufacturer. Respond to a call within 48. If the industry standard is for all the calls to be answered within the 24 hours, the 24 hours period may be used as the benchmark. That means best practice, best in class. That means is throughout the clock, is around the clock. So is answering all employees during the period of time. Second one, technology. The technology remain competitive by tracking rival products. That means by PLC means product life cycle. So immediately you should be bounced back with the market search. What do you mean by healthcare? Medical centers has to be keep track for the patient information, some metrics of medical care, some periods, recovery periods, discharge items. These are the certain examples comes under the healthcare. These measurements can be obtained to calculate the rate change in each area outcome. That true example, like in COVID situation, we have of cities and towns and rural and urban. We have taken the data, how many are pending, how many are taken the vaccinated. So our COVID data has given the clear picture. That means the healthcare, we are preventing. Now, what do you mean by hospitality? Hospitality is another fourth example for the benchmarking. Like you are even small items like consumer food prices, staff compensation, retention are measured and compared with customer expectation in the hospital. So rating will be given. So why it is needed? Why need for our benchmark? Benchmarking compares the company's approach, product, system to those of the global market. It allows them to observe how other companies have succeeded and set up to match, to become best in class. So it is a technique for coming up with a new concept to improve their process in order to meet and fulfill customers' demands. So benchmarking allows business to concentrate more on the external environment, which allows their improving process. Thank you. And tomorrow we are going to take fifth unit. Fifth unit is lengthy, having subunits.